G'day and welcome to Videodrome Cinema. Today I have 10 interesting and fun facts about the movie The Green Mile. Tom Hanks basically accepted the role as a favor. When they were making The Shawshank Redemption, Tom Hanks was actually asked to play the title role, but he actually said no to that because of Forrest Gump, so he owed Frank Darabont. While on set, he was in character even when they were on a break. So when Stephen King actually came to visit the set, he actually wanted to try sitting in Old Sparky, but Tom Hanks said that he's the boss here and he's not going to allow any tomfoolery around the electric chair. According to the original plans, Tom Hanks would have played the old Paul Edgecombe as well, but they weren't exactly pleased with the makeup tests, so they decided to go with another actor for that part. When the producers couldn't find good fit for the role of John Coffey, then it was actually Bruce Willis who suggested his co-star from Armageddon, Michael Clarke Duncan. Believe it or not, Michael Clarke Duncan is actually the same height as David Morse, and he's actually a little shorter than James Cromwell. So they had to use tricks and special camera angles to make John Coffey look much taller than all the rest of them. Michael Clarke Duncan said that one of the hardest scenes for him was when he had to grab Tom Hanks. And actually, Tom Hanks played a practical joke on him. He hid a bottle of water in his pants before they shot the scene. Originally, they offered the role of Paul Edgecombe to John Travolta, but he declined the role. Josh Brolin was in the running, actually for Wild Bill's role, but he ended up not getting it. It was actually Frank Darabont's original idea that maybe Barry Pepper could play the role of Percy, but then he ended up getting the role he did get. We can notice in the film that Percy's shoes squeak. This was actually an accident on set, but the director liked it, so they left it in. In the novel, Percy's character is only 21 years old, but the actor playing him, Doug Hutchison, was actually 39 years old when shooting. When he auditioned for the role, he actually told Frank Darabont that he's in his early 30s, so he got the role with a little white lie. It's interesting to note that later on in the 2002 The Salton Sea, they didn't give him the role he auditioned for because they didn't believe that he was that old. They thought he was too young for the role. The original Green Mile book came out in 6 100-page shorter books. The author gave 2 reasons for this. Stephen King said that people love flipping to the back of the book to see what happens, and he could get around this with this method. And also, one of Stephen King's friends said that back in the day, Charles Dickens' books came out in this fashion as well, and that this format could work for an author like Stephen King as well. He liked the idea that nowadays books don't come out like this. In actuality, though, the book for The Bonfires of the Vanities actually came out in Rolling Stone magazine in the same way, in little installments. Extra little tidbit that both of the films have Tom Hanks in them. The original idea for the book came to Stephen King while he was writing Desperation, and he had to finish that first before he could start on this one. We don't usually get a lot of book series from Stephen King, except for maybe the Dark Tower series, but those were written over a long period of time in different books. John Coffey's name actually comes from a university professor. He taught history and he was a minister, and Stephen King met him, and he really liked his name, so he ended up using it in this book. Stephen King got a lot of positive and negative criticism that the book has the allegory of racism in it. Stephen King later on said that the only reason that John Coffey is African American was that he would definitely get the death penalty for the crime they're accusing him of. While Frank Darabont was writing the script, he found out that his cat had cancer. The vet said that the cat wasn't in pain, so they wouldn't have to put it to sleep, and he spent the entire time while Darabont was writing the script beside him. He actually said that it was a profound experience to write the script while his animal was walking his own green mile beside him. And he thought that maybe the cat was in some way a co-writer for him. In the film, we never find out what Delacroix or Bitterbuck were sentenced for. From the book, we know that Delacroix was sentenced for murder and for arson and for rape. Bitterbuck was sentenced for killing somebody when they got into a fight over a pair of boots. It's also different in the book that Paul's wife dies in a bus accident. He actually survives this accident, and he thinks that it's from the powers that he got from John Coffey. The book takes place in 1932, but the film's time was moved a little bit. This was done so they could use the 1935 top hats. The film gets a kind of authenticity from the uniforms that the prison guards use. But the truth is that in this time period, the prison guards didn't actually have uniforms. For the scene when Wild Bill spits on David Morse, the crew actually built this tiny cannon that they filled with chocolate. This worked a little too well and ended up coating his entire face and went in his mouth and up his nose. This was a problem because David Morse is actually allergic to chocolate. At the beginning of the film, we can see the older Paul Edgecombe as he's walking on green tiles and on the green grass. This is to represent his own green mile that he's walking. So these were the interesting and fun facts that I found about the Green Mile. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Come back and visit us soon. Subscribe to the channel so we can tell you when we get new content out. Thanks. Bye.